Have you been keeping up with what's going on in the Red Sea these days?
Actually, I have. The Houthi attacks have really been shaking things up over there.
It's been wild. But you know what's even more surprising? Despite being right in the thick of it, Israel's imports have stayed pretty steady.
What's that?
But somehow, they've managed to keep things flowing while other Mediterranean countries are seeing declines.
Wait, seriously?
Well, for starters, Israel was already on a downward import trend before all this. So maybe the baseline was already shifting.
That's unexpected. You'd think with all that tension, their trade would take a serious hit.
You're probably right. Companies like Zim are stepping up big time, rerouting shipments around conflict zones efficiently.
That's bizarre. Any idea how they're pulling that off?
Totally. Their quick actions probably minimized the disruptions.
Interesting thought. But I feel like there's got to be more to it.
Good question. Maybe those countries rely more heavily on sea transportation without many alternatives.
Ah, Zim. Those guys are pros at navigating tricky waters.
Exactly. They've got land routes, strong air freight capabilities, you name it.
But here's what I don't get. Other countries have major shipping lines too. Why aren't they faring as well?
Honestly, it's easier said than done. Not every country has the infrastructure or geographical advantages.
Israel does have pretty diversified transport options, right?
Right, and then there's the whole web of existing trade agreements and partnerships to consider.
Makes sense, but do you think other countries can replicate that kind of diversification?
Absolutely. It's not just about moving goods, but also about relationships between nations.
Plus, investing in new routes isn't exactly cheap.
Well, global trade is so interconnected these days that any geopolitical event can send ripples worldwide.
Yeah, politics always finds a way in, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like watching a massive game of musical chairs with shipping containers.
So, speaking of geopolitics, how do you think that's playing into this whole situation?
Let's hope so. By the way, did you hear about the increased interest in alternative shipping routes lately?
Tell me about it. Remember when shipping costs to the US spiked, but costs to Europe and the Med leveled off?
Hey, exactly. With polar ice melting, new passages are opening up.
Right. It's like we're all in the same boat, literally, and if it springs a leak, everyone gets wet.
I know, right? It's hard to celebrate new routes when they're a result of climate change.
Agreed. Diversification and adaptability seem more crucial than ever.
Indeed. But it shows how dynamic global trade routes can be.
That's a big challenge. Smaller companies might get left behind without access to real-time data and advanced tech.
It's possible. Shorter routes could mean faster delivery times and lower costs.
Yeah, definitely. So what can be done about it?
Right. Countries are already eyeing the Arctic for its untapped resources and strategic advantages.
So that sounds ideal, but do you think it's realistic?
True, it's a delicate balance between seizing opportunities and avoiding escalation.
Switching gears a bit, did you notice how swiftly shipping companies adjusted their routes during the crisis?
Absolutely. Increased shipping traffic could have detrimental effects on the ecosystem.
Right. Back when I worked in logistics, I saw firsthand how crucial those contingency plans are.
I agree. We need to learn from past mistakes and prioritize environmental protection.
One time, we had to reroute an entire fleet overnight due to sudden port closures.
Some might,
Tell me about it.
especially with rising consumer awareness and demand for eco-friendly practices.
Absolutely. And I think Israel's experience is a testament to that.
Indeed. And regulations may also force companies to adhere to environmental standards.
For sure. When governments and industries coordinate well, it makes a huge difference. Setting the rules.
But enforcement is another matter entirely.
True. It's something that needs to be built over time and requires trust.
So, it's a complex issue with no easy answers.
No kidding. But maybe these challenges will push countries to improve collaboration.
Definitely. Staying informed is half the battle.
Oh, you mean like through the Arctic?
No, I missed that one. What's the scoop?
That's both fascinating and a bit alarming.
Oh, that sounds intriguing.
Totally. It's a classic case of opportunities arising from challenges.